Hey, everybody. We are coming to the end of the year. Coach Tresa and I are so thrilled to be here with you again, providing you with a little bit of insight. We are coming up on the holiday season, and for many people, this tends to be somewhat of a stressful time of year. This isn't always, sunshine and roses. There's a lot going on. We've got a lot happening. We are thinking about gift giving and hosting people at our homes and doing all of the cooking and the shopping and all of that's happening in the midst of everyday life. And so this can be a little bit of a stressful time for folks. So we thought that we would come together, share some of those core stresses that people are experiencing, and give you some really actionable tips that you can put into your little toolkit. So before we dive in today, Coach Teresa, hi, how are you?
Hi,
It's great to see you.
great to see you. It's November in just a few days,
It
and it
is.
seems like the holidays just sort of take off as soon as it gets to be November.
Absolutely. I think they start right before. I mean, we're coming up on
That's
what
true.
is arguably my favorite holiday of the year, which is Halloween.
Yes.
And so I feel like from here on out, it just becomes a blur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to as this holiday season is coming up upon us?
My holiday season is going to be completely different this year because I live across the country for my children, and so I've typically had the traditional family gathering, and this year I'm not going to. So what I'm looking forward to is having an open mind to how they celebrate it in Savannah, Georgia. And what I understand is that it's a really big holiday here, and there's all sorts of events to go to, and all the stores decorate. So I am going to just embrace the new. What are you looking forward to? What's great about your holidays?
Well, I too am on the other side of the country from my family. So everybody lives in Massachusetts. We're here in Nevada. And so my chosen family is here. And I tend to spend the holiday season with them. So the one thing that I look forward to every single year is the fact that we don't buy gifts for one another. What we end
Oh,
up doing is we make our gifts. And so that's something we decided a number of years ago. So we've probably got 5 or 6 years of that tradition under our belt. And every single year I'm always incredibly excited to make my gift and shove it into the little nooks and crannies of time that I find between all of the other things that are going
so
on.
have you already started?
Absolutely not. No, of course not. I'll give you one quick funny thing. So every single year, our friend Adam, he always takes on a really ambitious task, and he probably has the least amount of time as everybody. But 2 years ago, we sat down the morning of Christmas, and he said, I'm going to make my gift by the end of the day.
Oh,
And
wow.
by the end of the day, he goes, I wasn't able to learn how to knit.
I'm gonna knit a sweater by the end of the day.
I was like,
Hilarious.
you've never knit before, and today's the day? Yeah, no. So, all right. So, let's talk a little bit about these stressful situations that we find ourselves in during the holiday season. There are three that we're going to be talking about today, and I figured we could just dive right into number one, which we've already started to kind of allude to. It's that time crunch
Mhm.
during the holiday season. The fact that there's so much that's going on. We're shopping, we're cooking, we're decorating, we've got the parties, we've got travel, we've got all of the regular responsibilities that are on our
My heart rate
shoulders.
is already going up just hearing the list.
You can feel it showing up in your body.
Exactly.
And why is that? Our brains, I think, attached to this should trap, like the pressure around what we should be doing or what we shouldn't be doing, the expectations, and all of that tends to result in all of the guilt and shame and overwhelm and then overcommitment. And
Mhm.
so we find ourselves in this cycle. How do we keep ourselves out of this, Teresa?
Well, there's three things, to simplify this whole thing. First off, we have to have the ability to look at it and say, in the past, I tend to overcommit. And this year, I'm going to set an intention that I'm going to maybe do my best not to overcommit. So, one of the ways that we can do that is to reframe our language about how we talk about it. So, instead of that, I should invite people over for dinner, I should get the best gifts that I've ever gotten, we could change that to something like, I could invite somebody to dinner if I wanted to. I want to maybe have a cocktail party, but maybe not a whole dinner.
Mm,
And I get to buy the things that I think are really going to make people feel great.
mm,
So you see, it's a reframe in our mind because
yeah.
really it's our mind that creates our life, right? So
Yeah.
if we just kind of think about it in a different way than I should.
I love
Um,
that.
the second strategy is to do that thing that I used to do so well when I would buy an actual calendar. And I remember
Mm,
I would buy the calendar in November and when it, for the next year, and then it would have, December. So you could write all the things that you had to do in the calendar and see it visually. Well, I actually think that old-fashioned way of doing it can really be helpful
wait,
because
hold on, hold on. So you're telling me that we can plan ahead for the chaos that typically happens this time of year? How is that even
yeah,
possible?
I know. And here's the great thing is that once you actually see that you have
Mm,
three things on Wednesday, December 18th, then you can begin to talk about it with your
mm,
family, with your friends, with your chosen family, and say, okay, so three things on December 18th is just too much.
too
What is
much.
it that we all want to do? And here's what you and I always encourage people is take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Put your own oxygen mask on first,
Yeah.
because really we're talking to a lot of people, but individually we are responsible for our own level of anxiety in the holidays. So, the traditions that we love, they don't have to blindly make us do things. We
Yeah.
can we can question it. We can have conversations about it, and having a calendar can really help.
Yeah.
And then and then the thing that we all have to practice year throughout the year is saying no. We don't
Ooh.
have to say yes to
Ooh.
everything. I
Oh.
know, and it's hard because we all have what we call codependent patterns, right?
Yeah.
And what does codependent mean? It means we want to take care of other people's feelings. We
Mm,
don't want to hurt their feelings. So saying no to someone who invites us over feels mean. It
mm,
feels uncaring. But actually, you can actually learn how to say no kindly and with compassion. And most people understand that you can't do everything during the
mm,
holidays. So
yeah.
practice saying no, have more discussions, and then, of course, delegate and outsource some of the things
Mm,
that you have to do. Like, for instance, putting up your Christmas
mm.
decorations. You can hire people to come and do that for you. And now's a good time to get on their calendar.
Yeah, yeah, those are so great. I feel like that people pleasing in us that
Yeah.
just overcommits us and has us not say no or feeling like we have to say no, but then defending our reason behind it. It's okay for us to have space during this time of year, but we can also choose. I love that reframe of this is something that I want to be doing. And
Yes.
yes, it may be stressful, but I'm choosing to do this instead of I have to do this in order for my family to love me or for my friends to love me, right? Love,
If you have that type of wording of reframing, you feel it in the emotional state
yeah,
in your body, and then even if though, like you say, it might be stressful, you feel better about it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, so good. Love that. Love those. Okay, amazing. So
Okay.
tell us what's number two?
Yeah, so number two is, of course, for some people, the big one, the financial pressure, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because we have expectations around giving. I
hmm,
have to do it bigger than I did it last year.
yeah,
I have to compete with my sister who always picks better gifts than me. And then, of course, we mentioned, hosting people. We get to see people we haven't seen for a long time,
mhm,
spend time with our most favorite people. And of course, the traveling is can be extremely stressful. And then decorating.
mm.
That again can also be a competition. It can be, I have to do it better. But all of these things are a little bit more expensive than they were in the past. And
Oh
so it
yeah,
can really strain our budget.
yeah,
Many people do just like go with it and they get their credit cards out, they get into debt, and they just increase that anxiety of like, how am I going to pay for this debt next year?
yeah.
So, family belief systems around maintaining these rituals can really amp up the anxiety around money this time of year.
Mm. So, so true. Yeah.
So, what do we do, Lindsay?
Well, I feel like this is one of the areas that I've had under control for a while now. And um, number one for me, always, it seems obvious, but create a budget. Create a budget from a place of safety.
Mhm.
This is something that I've been doing for the last couple of years, specifically around the holidays. And, here we are, holiday season's upon us. But this is something I would start now for next year. So I would start planning this from a place of safety and maybe notice how you're feeling this year and
Mhm.
ask yourself, do I feel justified spending only what's comfortable for me? Do I have the permission for myself to set these financial boundaries and honor my particular situation?
Right.
Am I placing more emphasis on having to spend versus doing things maybe that aren't requiring a ton of money? So,
Right.
really sitting down and as a family deciding what are we going to put into this and making sure that you truly are coming from that place of safety ahead of time where you are caring for yourself and coming from a place of love. Love
Mhm.
for you, love for your family, love for your community, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to do, and whatever type of financial support you're trying to provide. Check in with yourself, check in with your body. Notice if you're experiencing any tension as you're sitting down and you're doing this exercise. If you are, create some safety for yourself. We're going to talk about some exercises that you could do, things like tapping, humming, breath work, those types of things that will actually help you create the safety for yourself
Mhm.
in the body before it goes to the brain. We always go to the brain first, where we try to logic our way through it, but
Mhm.
oftentimes that safety has to start within. So that's the first thing, is creating that budget from that place of safety for yourself and really, really loving the budget that you come up with.
Mm.
The other thing is plan throughout the course of the year. You can find things, of course, things this time of year are going to cost so much more. So if you can plan throughout the course of the year and here are the things that I want to do, you can spread that budget out throughout the course of the year. So you
Mhm.
can think about who might you want to be purchasing gifts for this time of year, what kind of hosting do you want to do? Can you put the budget in place throughout the course of the year instead of just waiting until now and trying to get everything together now? So, again, some of this is going to be thinking about what you want to do for next year, but noticing the experience that you're experiencing this year. That would be
Mhm.
very, very helpful for you. Okay.
Very
So,
smart.
think about who and what you want to celebrate well in advance. Avoid any of that last minute scrambling and overspending. The final thing is the rethinking of gift giving. So I've
Mhm.
already told you, we make our own gifts. And one of the goals was to spend no more than $25 in the process of making that gift. So rethinking, am I going to buy something or am I going to make something? Maybe you're making a food item. Maybe it's a donation to a food pantry. Maybe it's, just spending time with your loved ones. There's, of course, that wonderful book out there, The Five Love Languages. And we have to understand that not everybody receives or gives love in the same way. And so, if maybe, the people in our lives that we had been purchasing gifts for would prefer words of affirmation, where you tell them how much you appreciate them. Maybe you write them a really amazing card, or acts of service where you help them to do something that's been on their to-do list. Receiving gifts is just one of them, right? Quality time, spending time with the people that you love, physical touch. So everybody receives and gives love in a different way. So really understanding, especially for those that are in your close circle, how that works for them is going to be a way that you could potentially not have to spend the kind of money that you would have on a gift.
The very best gift I got one Christmas
Mm.
was a set of coupons for my son, each one for a hug.
Yeah.
And, that's the kind of thing we're talking about where we think that financial contribution or financial amount has something to say about how we care about people, but
Yeah.
that's not how they receive it all often.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. So those are
Very
those are
good.
the core three that I would say from a financial perspective
Mhm.
that are super important for us to consider.
All right. So what's next? What's our third?
Ooh, family dynamics and
Oh,
expectations.
yes, yes. We left the best one for last, Lindsay.
Yeah, this time of year, we know that there's been a lot going on in the world. We've got a lot of different opinions about things. We've been experiencing it for a while now. So navigating those complicated family relationships and different personalities and different perspectives, along with that pressure to create the perfect experience and maintain those traditions, can be really challenging.
Yes.
So, we've got to also think about how do we anticipate maybe some of the past conflicts that we've experienced and some of those toxic emotional patterns that might be repeating themselves over and over again, or old wounds that might be resurfacing during family gatherings. So the whole family dynamic thing can be a real stressor for folks.
Yes.
And, how do we go about navigating it?
Well, when I think about what we're talking about here, we're inviting people to think about the holidays in a different way.
Yeah.
And so, one of the ways you can do that is realizing that if you define a new ritual or you do something different, that is going to already potentially change the whole dynamic between the family members. So, if you know that Uncle Henry's coming over and he tends to, give sermons or whatever that makes everybody in the family a little bit crazy, well, what could you do that's a new kind of ritual that might interrupt that?
Love that.
So, and the other thing, we've talked about the fresh gift giving strategies, but it's just like freshening up the whole situation
Yeah.
is the first strategy. How
Love
can
that.
you do it differently? Um, and then let go of the past. So here's the thing: if you only see Uncle Henry once a year, lots have happened to you in that year, and lots has happened to him. And we can just realize that you're a different person and
Mm,
he's a different person. So we don't necessarily have to hold each other in the same place of the last time we saw each other.
yeah.
Like, let go, show up with a fresh start attitude every day. And I mean, every day that you're around Uncle Henry. It's like every morning, wake up. Oh, it's a new day, fresh start. I'm not going to hold on to whatever kind of anger or pissed offness or whatever that I had yesterday.
Mm,
And, because we can change, all of us change every day.
sure.
Now, that being said, it is important to have some healthy boundaries, right? So it helps to practice a little bit. Uncle Henry, I really don't let anybody talk to me like that, but let's go out and get some more dip. You can very gently help people
Mm,
understand that you don't want to be talked to in a certain way. And that makes everybody feel closer.
mm,
Maybe you have to take a break and go into another room and just ask yourself, am I feeling like he's attacking me right now?
mm,
Why am I feeling that way? Because sometimes that's not exactly what he's intending.
yeah.
Sometimes it's how you're interpreting something.
Mm,
So we can take the opportunity of being around our family to share our love, show compassion, have humor, be understanding, and just have the whole intention of this is a whole new holiday. We're making it a whole fresh time, and let's enjoy each other.
mm. It feels like sometimes it's so much easier said than done,
Yes,
right? Some of these things can feel incredibly heavy and very emotionally charged. And, our brains can take them into places that aren't necessarily true, right? Some of these expectations we're just creating on the inside. So I think all of those tips were incredibly helpful for our audience to really think about what's going to be on your plate. What are some of these tips that you might want to put in place? And as you're going through this, again, notice if you're creating safety for yourself first, right? It could be really challenging for you to set that boundary if you yourself have not created some of the internal safety around your own nervous system. We can get kicked into that fight or flight mode so easily,
right.
where our brains don't recognize the difference between the lion or the tiger outside of the cave and an uncomfortable conversation around the dinner table. So, prepping yourself ahead of time, is this on me to manage or am I putting it on them? And really pulling back some of that agency to yourself to create the safety and not put it on somebody else to make sure that they're responsible how you are going to be feeling or how you are going to be acting. Yeah.
Which
Love
is
that.
why we've put these tools together so that hopefully anybody listening to this, and please share it with your family and friends, because if you can keep your nervous system regulated throughout the holidays, then you're going to be less reactive and have a better time and feel closer to your family members.
Mm, yeah. So good. So some of those just quickly, body scans. You can do some meditation, humming, tapping exercises, fascia release, yoga, movement. All of those can be incorporated into your practice. Take some time, step away.
Absolutely. And we have put together a quick little worksheet with just three really effective and quick and easy ways to get your nervous system back in control, so that your heart rate goes down, your
Mm.
breathing is calmer, a smile comes back on your face, and you're ready to go back into the fray.
I always love mantras. Those ones
Oh,
are always
mantras are
really good
good.
too.
Yes.
Mantras are good too. Just repeat them
So,
over
what
and
are
over.
some of our final thoughts, Lindsay?
Yeah. So, you don't have to implement everything. And this is not take absolutely everything. Pick one thing that resonated for you, make those small shifts. They can actually create some really significant changes for you in your holiday experience. Make sure that your nervous system is safe and it is your responsibility, and that is truly your superpower. You don't have to put that responsibility onto somebody else. And then just give yourself permission to create the holiday experience that works for you, not against you. This is
Yeah.
a time of year where we're all supposed to be experiencing some cheer. So let's
Mhm.
find a way to really not overexert ourselves here.
Absolutely. I think that now is the time to really reach out to people. And we've been through a tough year in a lot of ways, for various different in our work and in our personal lives and so on. And so here we are at the time of year where we get to let down a little bit. We get to take a little time off work, and we get to do what we really enjoy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it first. I know you're all going to hear it a million times, but happy holidays.
Mm. Happy holidays, everyone. Please share this with your family, friends, loved ones, colleagues, anybody that you think would be supported by this episode. And of course, always remember your financial advisor is out there to support you as well. They're bringing you this information because they don't just care about your money, they care about you. So until next time, everyone, be well.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Bye
holidays.
bye.